In this video, I will be talking about Joe Fournier's knockout by KSI, and there is much speculation about the KSI's knockout of Joe Fournier, as many are talking about that this knockout is illegal and is caused by KSI's forearm. Moreover, I would also be talking about how a forearm strike could result in the knockout of the opponent. So I am Dr. Harun Ilyas, and if you are into anatomy and mechanics of sports injuries, consider subscribing to this channel. So this is the exact moment where KSI tried to hit Joe Fournier with a right hook. He misses the right hook, and he continued with his right forearm that resulted in the knockout of Joe Fournier. So if we really slow it down a little bit, we can see that there might be a little contact with KSI's gloves with Joe Fournier, but KSI really did miss whole of Joe Fournier's face with major portion of his gloves, and he did really manage to follow through. And it is one of the tactics used by many boxers. They try to close their hook down, and even if they misses with their punch, they follow through with their forearm and the elbow. So let us now have a look at how Joe Fournier is being knocked out by KSI's forearm. And we have seen people getting knocked down by punches and the elbows, but to see someone getting knocked down by a forearm is one of the unique case, and we do rarely see this happen in the combat sports. And if we see the anatomy of our forearm, there are two bones called the radius and the ulna, and the muscles surrounding these bones are divided into two categories. One is the extensor group and the other is the flexor group. And the extensor group that originates from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus are responsible for the extension or the straightening of the fingers, and the medial group, that is also called the flexor group, originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and is responsible for the flexion of fingers of our hand. And if we see this picture of our forearm, we can see that it is covered by the muscles on the lateral side, on the medial side, and on the anterior side, but on the posterior end there is slight prominence, slight bony prominence that is present, and this bony prominence is known as the prominence of ulna. And if we see the knockout of Joe Fournier, we can see that it is this portion of KSI's forearm that has connected with Joe Fournier's face, and as one bony prominence has connected with another bony prominence, although there is a heavy rotational force that has resulted in giving concussion to Joe Fournier, and this might be the reason of the knockout of Joe Fournier. So let us now have a look at where this prominent portion of ulna has connected with the face of Joe Fournier. And if we can see right here, we can totally understand this, that it has connected with the prominent portion of cheek, and our cheekbone is made up of some portion of maxillary bone and most of the part of zygomatic bone. And if this bone is not present over here, this kind of injury can result in the trauma of eye if it penetrates deep down. But Joe Fournier has been hit by KSI in this spot right here, and even if the strike is not that much of a fatal, although it managed to knock Joe Fournier out due to the force, due to the rotational force present behind it, I really don't think that there could be any horrific injuries such as fractures of any kind that Joe Fournier might have faced here. So this is it from this video, and if you are into content related to sports science, consider subscribing to this channel.